Welcome back to the TWSN YouTube channel. The draft is quickly approaching, so we're going to be hammering out some more team-specific mock drafts for you guys in the upcoming days. We're just going to kind of start at the top here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, they hold the first overall pick in back-to-back years. And, the fun of the draft kind of starts here at number one. I think coming into the year, a lot of people had Kayvon Thibodeau up there. And then he's fallen for some reason, and now it's kind of been Aiden Hutchinson. And more recently, the hype of Trayvon Walker. I don't know necessarily how thrilled the Jags are. These are their options at one this year. Personally, I think Kayvon Thibodeau is the best player in the draft. I just don't see them taking him, really. If for whatever reason, I don't see it happening. I think they're going to end up it's probably for them between Aiden Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker. And I think I'm just going to lean Aiden Hutchinson first overall for now. It's one of those things, like I said, they have a lot they can do. They can protect Trevor Lawrence with a tackle. Maybe they take a corner or what. They can do literally anything. It's more than likely going to be one of the edge rushers. I don't think anybody would be shocked if they took an offensive lineman. Those are kind of the two obvious holes on the team. Edge isn't even a massive hole. They have Josh Allen. So in this case, pairing Josh Allen with Aiden Hutchinson is a pretty scary thought. Now here in the second, there's holes on this Jags team. Obviously, they have the first pick for a reason. But they just need more talent. So I'm not going to pass on a guy who I feel is more talented just because there's another player that kind of fits what they need a little more. So thankfully, it kind of works in the best of both worlds here. And Lewisine from Georgia here to kind of kick into that secondary to start of round two. This guy flies around. He flies around and hits very hard. He's a pretty stereotypical safety. Can do it all. He can kind of come in the box and helps the run game very well. But he also can kind of roam around back there and make some plays in the passing game and kind of impact that area of the field as well. Just a really solid defender. That's going to be able to help you on many levels, and that's kind of what you're looking for, especially in a Jags team that definitely needs some holes in the secondary. It's kind of one of those rare instances where best player available kind of matched your biggest need. So I think the Jags will be pretty thrilled with him there at the start of round two. Now we got two quick picks here in round three. We got pick 65 and pick 70. This is really where I'm going to start kind of going all over the place. They can do anything. They can go any direction. There's a couple of people that kind of catch my attention right away, but the first one that's going to be a pick here at 65 is Travis Jones, interior defensive lineman for UConn. Another one of those positions where, another one of those instances where position of need kind of matches the best player on the board there. Travis Jones as a top of round three is something I'd be very excited about as a Jags fan. He did a lot of nose tackle. Played that role at UConn, but showed at the Senior Bowl he can move to 3-tech in effect and play a part of the passing game as well and really rush the passer, really high upside with a high floor pick there to start round three. And then here, just a couple picks later is where things get a little interesting. They can go a lot of directions here. I'm not going to lie, I really kind of like these running backs. Or not the running backs, the linebackers. Sorry, I was looking at Isaiah Spiller. But these linebackers are pretty fun here. Chad Muma, Leo Chenal, Christian Harris. But the upside of Daniel Falele from Minnesota, massive human being, tackles a decent need for them long term. Just going to kind of take a little bit of a risk there with a really high upside player. I think he can be, the floor is obviously not as high as you'd like, but he's a huge dude, 6'8". That is huge. You need to protect Trevor Lawrence, and I think for not going on offensive lineman until your fourth pick in this draft, you get some pretty good value with Falele there at pick 70. I'm coming up on the fourth round pick, 106. Again, some of these linebackers are pretty interesting to me. Let's see who falls. Ooh, definitely some interesting guys here. Definitely. Who do I want to go with? There's definitely some interior line help that could be had as well. I like Spencer Buford's ability to play guard and kind of be a swing tackle if you need him to as well. They don't really need any more wide receiver help. They kind of did a lot of that in free agency. Good for them. Zach Tom's a guy I like a lot as well. Zach Tom would probably be my pick if I didn't just draft Falele. I think I'm going to go Darren Beavers from Cincinnati here. If I can get this thing, there we go. I think Beavers is one of the more underrated linebacker prospects in this class. He didn't test too terribly well, but the tape doesn't lie at the end of the day. It just doesn't. He can really do anything. He's a big dude, but he can cover tight ends really well. He can even rush the passer a little bit. He's a fun little versatile linebacker that you can move around the field. I know they signed Falisada Luakun in free agency, but they did lose Miles Jack, so they didn't really fix the issue there. They kind of just brought in a new face. I think Darren Beavers I think he's going to be a starter in this league for quite some time. I think he's a very versatile piece that does a lot of things really well, a lot of things that you look for in a linebacker he possesses. He's kind of got the throwback linebacker build. He's a bigger dude. He's not your more slimmer, just jacked build that you kind of see him take the NFL by storm, but he's going to get the job done, and he's going to make a number of plays in a number of different areas on the field. Now, kicking off round 5 here, it's a little bit interesting. I'm not going to lie, Matt Araiza is not a terrible pick here. If I'm being honest, haven't thrown him in one of these mocks yet. That'd be a fun little one. I'm kind of just looking at the way the board is right now. I'm kind of deciding between one of these interior offensive linemen. I like Lettuce Smith and Luke Forder a lot. Smith came to Virginia Tech as a tight end and kind of bulked up, and you can kind of see that in the run game a little bit. He's really good in the run game because he's so athletic and moves really well. Like I said, he was a tight end, so that's something that could definitely interest them. Let's just go ahead and go that. I think they kind of got some pass protectors there. They're kind of with the way they signed Brendan Sheriff, you have Cam Robinson, and adding Falele and Smith in this draft. You're really creating that mean, gritty offensive line that a lot of teams kind of want. It's not needed to be good by any means, but just when you kind of have that mean attitude on your offensive line, I think a lot of teams kind of like that because you'll protect the quarterback a little bit. That's just kind of how it worked out there. Now here in round 6. The corners, I'm definitely looking for a rotational corner for them. Jack Jones is interesting. Chase Lucas, the Arizona State guy, is a little interesting. Castro Fields as well. Darion Kendrick, for some reason, I can see being a Jag because the tape isn't bad by any means. The off the field issues are there. His testing was terrible, but he produced decently well at Clemson and Georgia. So that's definitely something I can see them doing. Not gonna lie, Justin Ross down here. I know they don't really need a receiver, but they don't have too many young guys. I know they signed Zay Jones a 3-year deal. Christian Kirk's not old by any means, so 4-year deal. They have LaVisca, Marvin Jones, but I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to give him Justin Ross here for Clemson and Trevor Lawrence. That's the only reason why. Justin Ross has super high upside if he can just stay healthy. And kind of we've seen the success that pairing your college wide receiver and quarterback together in the NFL has done wonders so far in the NFL in the small sample size that we've seen. Not that it's necessarily going to have that success, but when you have as many picks as they do, they got pick 188 here. You have pick 197, 198. You can take that risk, and I think that's a pretty good risk because it'll make Trevor Lawrence happy, and it's a high upside player nonetheless. Now here in round 6, I keep looking at Matt Araiza. I'm not taking him because I'm not drafting a punter in any of these, and I don't really think he's going to be here around 6. So I'm looking at these corners again still. Let's go ahead and give him Jack Jones from Arizona State. I think I'm probably going to double dip here at corner, if I'm being honest, just to get them some more rotational players. The secondary needs a lot of work, needs a lot of depth, actually. But Jack Jones is a really solid corner, can kind of do a little bit of everything. He's really good in the run game, but his tackling's a little iffy, but he's around the ball a lot. If he can improve his tackling, he'd probably be a lot higher than what he is. Now I'm looking at the tight ends here. I think there can be a couple fun tight end shots here for them. I love the Evan Ingram pickup. I think there's a chance he is there long term. Dan Arnold, a solid guy as well, but at the very least, some depth here. Let's go Trey Berry from Boston College. He was really good at some smaller schools in the past, really high upside. Didn't get to do too much at Boston College. It was his first year. Like I said, he came from, I believe, a D2 or a FCS school. But the upside is there. And there's a couple tight ends I like more in general, but I think Evan Ingram could be there a little bit longer. And Trey Berry is a really good receiving tight end can kind of, worst case scenario, if they lose Evan Ingram, you can kind of, hopefully replicate that kind of skill set. Maybe not give you the production, but he has that similar skill set that they clearly like, considering they brought in Evan Ingram and Darren Arnold. Now, right back to him here at 198. They have a lot of picks, man. Let's go ahead and double dip in corner. Let's just give him Darian Kendrick from Georgia. I spieled about him earlier. I'm not going to get too much into him again. It's just a high risk, decently high reward kind of guy there. Earlier in the year, before all this stuff happened, he was mocked, as a round 2 guy, round 3 guy. And I know there's obviously some good reason for concern or some good reasons not to draft them. But again, when you have a lot of these picks near the end of the draft, it's okay to take chances on guys have shown more in the past, and kind of just bank on them meeting that upside again. I think that's kind of the route they take. Now, again, there's so many people. They have so many picks, man. They have so many picks. I'm kind of looking at anything, really. I'm just scrolling through, seeing if there's anybody that catches my eye a little bit. There's definitely a few, but what works best for them? Who's at the top of the board? I like Jeffrey Gontar. Let's go him. He's a bigger edge. He can do a lot. He really can do a lot. He can kind of move him into that outside linebacker role, into that edge role a little bit. Just a little versatile guy that Coastal Carolina's produced a really good crop of NFL players these last few years that always seem to be underdrafted, and I think he could definitely be one of them there. And again, Jags on the clock again because they have so many picks. Let's go ahead and kind of just continue the depth move. I like Leon O'Neal Jr. from Texas A&M. He's a really solid safety. I think he's a little bit different than Lewis Cine that we drafted earlier. So I think that they can kind of, he's a late round pick for a reason, but at the end of the day, he can kind of complement and he can definitely make an impact on special teams. And when you're drafting late in the draft, you got to find people that have the opportunity to impact your team in some way or another. And I think he does that there. At the very least, he gives you some depth, some special teams help, and that's pretty great. Look at all these picks, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 picks. 12 picks for the Jags. You can kind of just see the recap on the screen here. A lot of everything. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jags moved some of, look at 180, 188, 197, 198 to kind of move up. Maybe not, but they can do a lot. They have a lot of picks to move around. I doubt they'll probably end the draft with 12 picks. I think they probably should use some to move up, especially a lot of these late rounders, get some better value, get some better players. They need more talent on the team. But yeah, I really like how this turned out for the Jags. A lot they can do. It's a pretty exciting time to be a Jags fan. I feel like you're going a little bit of a new direction. You got your quarterback. You just spent a lot in the offseason. It's a different. Hopefully, there's some more success to come that translates to the field. But for now, there's some optimism, and I believe it's warranted. That's going to wrap up this Jacksonville Jaguars team-specific mock draft. And like I said, draft is quickly approaching. There'll be plenty of teams that we haven't got to yet. If there's one of them you want to see, just comment down below and we'll make sure we get it. Like I said, that's going to wrap this one up, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the TWSN YouTube channel soon.